Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and happy New Year. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I am sharing some awesome sneak peeks with you of the brand new, soon to be released, January to June mini catalog and Sale-a-bration. Now, for those of you that have been around for a while, you know Sale-a-bration is the best time of year. It's better than Christmas because, well, it's like Christmas because with every purchase you make of $60 or more here in Canada, you get to choose free items from the Sale-a-bration brochure. Now, I'm going to have a launch event coming up this Friday where I will get into all of the Sale-a-bration details and show you some awesome suites that are in this new mini catalog. But today, I just wanted to give you kind of a little teaser sneak peek of some of the new products and show you a couple projects that I've made. But this Friday at 7 p.m. live right here, I'm going to hold my catalog and Sale-a-bration launch video, and I really hope you'll join me for that. All right, so let's talk new products. So we're going to make these three projects today. These two use products mostly from the mini catalog, and then this one uses a whole bunch of product from Sale-a-bration. So I thought I'd give you a little sampling of some new things that you're going to see. So we're going to start with this card. This is actually made using my very favorite suite in the mini catalog. The suite is called Tropical Oasis, and the colors and the imagery are just so lush. Now, I don't know if it's because my husband and I are traveling to Maui this summer on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, but this suite totally speaks to me. Maybe it's just because it's winter here in Canada and right now it is snowing and gray and gross. But I gotta tell you, the images and the colors in the paper in this suite are just fantastic. Now, a lot of the images are floral. However, there are a lot of tropical images that work for masculine cards. So I actually designed this birthday card for an upcoming event, and I thought this is a great masculine birthday card. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I did that. Now to start, I'll just show you the products that I used. So this is the stamp set from the Timeless Tropical suite. As I said, it's got some floral images, but then it's got some great tropical images and some awesome sentiments. So this is a really versatile stamp set, and of course it has coordinating dies and well, a whole lot of other coordinating products that are really awesome. I'll show you the whole suite on Friday during my launch event. And then the sentiments that I used, actually, I wanted something a little bit more masculine, so I didn't want quite as much of a cursive look. Hi, Heather. Hope you're traveling safe. So I used this Sale-a-bration set. So this is one of the new sets that's coming up and will be available for free with a $60 purchase here in Canada. It's an awesome sentiment set. It has sentiments for the front of the card and then ones that you can put on the inside as well. Hi, Alfie. How are you? Hope you had a wonderful Christmas. So those are the two stamp sets that I used. I'm going to set them aside and bring in my little bag of goodies here. So the first thing we are going to do is stamp our two images. We're going to stamp our palm trees and our pineapple. Now to do this, I used my Stampin' Up! Markers to ink my stamp so that I could get the two colors just with one stamping. So I'll show you how I did that really quickly. So I'm going to start with my pineapple. Your Stampin' Up! Marker, or Stampin' Right markers rather, these are not blends, okay? These are the water-based Stampin' Right markers. This is Old Olive. They are double tipped, okay? So there's a brush tip on one end and a fine writing tip on the other. How can you tell? Well, if you look at your marker, see how there's a wider line on one end and a thinner line on the other? So the wider line is for the brush tip. So that's the one that I want to use to ink my stamp. And, oh, hang on, I gotta turn off my space heater. It's gonna make too much noise. Did I mention that it's cold here in Canada? It is not very nice and it's quite chilly in my studio, so I turned the space heater on to warm it up before I started. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and ink up the top of my pineapple here with the Old Olive. So it goes pretty quickly because the brush tip has a fair bit of real estate. And then I'm going to do the same with Soft Suede on the bottom part of the pineapple. So this is obviously a pineapple that has not been cut and cored. Hi, Irene. How's the weather in Woodstock? I bet it's just as snowy as it is here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stamp that pineapple. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my palm trees. So I'll ink the trunks with my Soft Suede. And we'll do the other one, and you can get right up in there with the point of the brush, so it's easy to get just those little detail bits. And then we're going to take our old olive and ink up the top of our pine tree. Can you tell I'm in Canada? And that Christmas just ended? How many of you have still got your Christmas tree up? I still do. We always wait until the weekend before we go back to school. So this coming Sunday is when our tree will get taken down. I just enjoy the lights. It's just so nice to sit in the evenings with the twinkling lights. Okay, so there are my inked palm trees. Now, one thing that because this is a larger image and it took me a little bit longer to ink it, in order to make sure my my ink is moist, I'm going to take and just huff on it to make sure that the ink is good and moist and I get a nice image. Okay, so there are my two images. Now, I did mention there are coordinating dies that will cut those out. So when you do, you will get your palm trees and your pineapple. Okay, I've already gone ahead and done that. And then we also need to stamp our sentiment. So our sentiment, as I mentioned, is from one of the new Sale-a-bration sets. Yeah, Christmas tree staying up, eh, Elfie? I'm glad that I'm not the only one that likes to enjoy it a little longer. So I'm going to ink the sentiment here in Early Espresso. And I'm stamping it near an edge because I'm going to use this new punch. And the name of it escapes me right now. I'll be able to tell you on Friday during my launch event. I'm going to go ahead and, I punched it too low, or stamped it too low. Let's try that again. We're going to stamp it up a bit higher this time so that we have enough room to punch it with the punch. All right, so now I'm going to center that stamped image in my punch and just pop it out. Okay, now this punch is cool because it punches a slot and it also punches a little hole. So you can just slide a piece of cardstock in and punch that if you wanted to, just to get a hole or a slot. Okay, it's a pretty versatile punch and I'll show you more about this one on Friday. All right, I'm going to put my inks away here and we're going to put this card together. Now that I've done all of that, it's going to come together really quickly. So to start, I have a piece of soft seafoam cardstock. It is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I've run it through the subtle embossing folder. Okay. Oh, you don't have sound. Heather, try exiting, like logging out of Facebook or closing your Facebook app and then re-entering and opening the video. It should work for you. Sometimes Facebook is weird that way. If you're already logged in, or I find it on mobile especially. I don't know whether it's a data thing or whatever, but try that and you may be able to get sound. But you can't hear me. So why am I saying that? Silly. All right, moving on. So I've used the subtle embossing folder to emboss this panel. And then here I have a piece of soft suede cardstock that is cut to 5 inches by, is it 5? Nope, 5 1/4 by 2 inches. And I have used the new Coastal Weave embossing folder on this. Now this is my new favorite folder. I've been using this a ton this week. It's just beautiful. It adds really, I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, you can. Look at the subtle texture in that. So not only do you get that basket weave pattern, but then you get sort of a rough texture that really makes it look like wicker. It's pretty cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and glue this down onto our soft seafoam panel. I'm still using my fast fuse. It is holding out. I am just, as I said, rationing it. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this. I'm going to put it on about 1/2 inch up from the bottom. I don't want to center it on this particular card. Whoop. No, it is 5 inches, or 5 1/8. That's what it is. Come on. Work with me. There we go. All right. Okay, now I can glue this onto my card base. So my card base is another piece of soft seafoam. Hi, Gail. How are you? Happy New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas. So this is cut to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and it's scored in the middle at 4 1/4 inches. So I'm going to fold it in half along my score line and crisp it up with my bone folder. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue my panel onto the front of my card. So we'll pop this right on here. And again, I'm doing tone on tone, which is always interesting for these old eyes. There we go. All right. Next, I have a piece of DSP. This has been die cut using the Stitched Shapes die. It's the largest circle okay, from the Stitch Shapes dies. And this is from that beautiful new Tropical Oasis DSP. So the one side is palm trees. The other is beautiful tropical floral images. Hi, Katie. How are you? So we're going to use the palm tree side because I wanted it to coordinate and I wanted something a little bit more masculine. So we're going to go ahead and just glue our palm trees onto that circle. So we're just going to add a little bit of Tombow if it decides to work. And we're going to pop that onto the circle. Now I'm not going to put it all the way to the bottom. I'm going to kind of have it centered so it kind of extends off the top of the circle. Okay. And then we are going to take our little happy birthday label and we're going to add our pineapple. So I'm just going to kind of tuck it in behind the label like that. So I'm going to use a glue dot to do that. So we'll just put a couple of glue dots right there. And then we're just going to have that kind of peeking out from behind the label. All right. Now, also part of the die set are these awesome leaf dies. Okay. Now these are not designed to cut out stamped images. They actually cut and give really nice texture. Can you see the texture on those leaves? Okay. So it gives the veining and really nice texture. Now these are cut from old olive cardstock and they are going to get glued sort of peeking out from behind my pineapple. So I'm going to take and add a glue dot to the back of each one and we'll kind of have one here. And we'll do another one kind of down here like that. Okay. And then that is going to get popped up onto my circle. So I'm going to use a few dimensionals. I'm glad you guys found me at noon today. I was not originally planning to go live at noon. I was planning to do my usual live at 5. And then my husband made some very last minute New Year's plans that require us to leave the house at 2 o'clock. Yes, I'm thinking we'll be home before midnight. At least I hope we are, because I don't know what the heck we're going to do for 10 hours waiting for the countdown. I'm hoping we'll be home to do the countdown in front of the TV. In any case, we are going to Toronto, which is about an hour east of where I am. And we're going to hang out with my husband's sister and her family. We have dinner reservations and anyway, so yeah, that was not planned. So that's hence the early live today. Okay, so my circle is ready to go. Now, before I do that, I'm going to add some of this awesome, this is my new favorite trim, awesome burlap trim. So this is new. It's part of this same Tropical Oasis suite. It has some really beautiful braided texture. It works perfectly with that embossing folder. Now, this is quite heavy. It is burlap. It's quite coarse. And when you tie it, it does tie into a nice bow, but it is quite a thick, coarse bow. So this is not a bow that I would use on a card, but it would look really fantastic on a decor piece or on packaging, on gift packaging. Okay, so it does tie up quite nicely, but we're just going to use a little piece of it as an accent behind our focal image. Now, one of the things I love about this is that it is easy to distress. So you can snip the end. This is about, I don't know, 4.5 inches. That's probably too much. Yeah, let's cut a little bit off there. There we go. Let's say it's 4 inches. So I'm just going to take and pull the end apart. And I love the look of that, just to add a little bit of subtle texture. Now to glue this on, I'm just going to add a little bit of fast fuse here, and I'm just going to stick it right down. Okay. Just like that. Isn't that great? Oh, love it. And then this is going to get popped up right over top. So we're going to add some dimensionals. Oh, Katie, you have no idea. I love this trim. I've already ordered 2 more rolls. No, 1 more. I'll order more on Friday when the catalog goes live. We're only allowed to pre-order 2 of all the consumables. But let me tell you, this is one that I will be going through a lot. So that's just going to get popped up on there. I'm going to make sure that my dimensionals are going to land below that trim so that it doesn't bump up. Just to make sure that my little focal piece here lies flat. Okay, so this is going to get centered. Well, not centered, but adhered to the side. Just like that, okay? And then our last little touch is to use one of these cute little trinkets. Now, these trinkets are also part of the Tropical Oasis suite, and there are several different styles. There's the leaf, there's a little hibiscus bloom, there's a ukulele, and there's a pineapple. And you get, I think, 8, maybe 6 of each in the package, okay? So there's a plain side, and then there's a side with some texture. So we're going to use that textured side. They adhere really easily with glue dot. So I'm just going to press that onto a glue dot, and I'm going to pop it onto the front of my card for just a little bit of an accent there. And that's it. Super simple, but really pretty and an awesome masculine birthday card. Now I'll just quick show you what I did on the inside. Hi, Laura. So on the inside, I added a Whisper white panel. This is another sentiment from that same Sale-a-bration set. Okay, sending you thoughts right here. As I mentioned, we've got outside sentiments and inside sentiments, which is great. And then I stamped another set of palm trees. I've still got pine trees on the brain. Palm trees on the inside. Okay, so great, quick masculine card for you using that new Tropical Oasis suite. Now let me just clean up my mess here a little bit. And we will get on to card number 2. And I have to say, card number 2 is my favorite. Well, actually, it's a close tie between card number 2 and card number 3. But let's do card number 2, and then I'll let you decide which one is your favorite. Okay, so card number 2 is this beautiful, elegant, this could be like a congratulations card. It could be a bon voyage card. It could be a retirement card. I actually had a colleague a few years ago at our school. She was the head of the French department who retired, and this would have been a perfect card for her. All right, so this is using the new Parisian Beauty stamp set and coordinating dies. Okay, now there's, again, this is part of a suite. It's called Parisian Blossoms. I'm going to showcase the whole suite in my launch event on Friday. So you'll want to make sure you join me 7 o'clock on Friday evening, and I will be showcasing this entire suite. But this stamp set is, I absolutely love it. I love images that you can layer and create collages. I love the scripty background. I love the sentiments. It's just a fantastic set. So I'm going to show you how I put this card together. This is actually a swap card that I designed for a swap that I participated in. So some of you out there, if you participated in that same swap, may be getting one of these in the mail. So we're going to start to stamp our sort of collage background. So here, I'm going to set that aside. I have a stitched rectangle. It's cut using the stitched rectangle dies from Whisper White cardstock. Okay, and I'm going to start by stamping my Eiffel Tower. So I kind of want it as my sort of centerpiece or focal point. I'm going to stamp that. Is this no, I grabbed gray granite. I should have grabbed smoky slate. Grab the wrong ink color. Here we go. Smoky slate it is. Smoky slate is a fantastic gray. It's a nice soft gray, so it works really well with this soft color palette in this suite. And I am going to go ahead and stamp that just sort of down, not quite centered. I don't want it perfectly centered, but I'm going to stamp it sort of to the side a little bit, just like that. Okay, so there's my Eiffel Tower. And next, I'm going to keep that smoky slate open because we're going to need it in a minute. Next, we're going to stamp our scripty background. So we're going to use Pool Party ink for that. And this is that background stamp. And this is actually a love poem. It says, I love you till my heart could burst. All I love and I want and I need is you forever. Without you, dearest dear, I could not see or feel or hear or think or live. Isn't that lovely? Now, if you are sending this to someone that you are not in love with, it totally just works for texture. Okay, so we are going to stamp this. I'm going to stamp it off once, and then I'm just going to add it in a couple of spots. And because I'm stamping off, it's just texture, okay? It's next to impossible to read, okay? So we don't have to worry about sending love poems to people that we are not necessarily in love with. Hi, Janine, how are you doing? All right, so I'm gonna take my Petal pink ink now, and I'm gonna stamp my Fleur de Lis. So for this one, I'm going to stamp full strength in a couple of spots. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp off and kind of almost do like a shadow behind it. So I'm not really worrying about lining it up exactly, but I'm just, again, adding depth and texture. All right, really simple, right? Next, we have this awesome sort of postal seal. It's got the Eiffel Tower on it, and I'm going to stamp that, again, stamped off using Petal pink ink again. Okay, and this one I'm going to rotate my stamp a little bit just to get a little bit of a different orientation. All right, super easy. Next, I hope you had a great Christmas, Deneen. Next, we are going to stamp. This is, you know, the lines that they use to cancel stamps, actual stamps when you mail your letters. It used to be an actual stamp. Now it's all done automatically, but that's what those are. So I'm going to ink them up in my smoky slate, and I'm going to stamp them off, and then I'm just going to add a few little lines through here. Again, just more texture and more interest on my collage. Okay, really simple. Collage stamping, it's really hard to do it wrong. The only thing I would caution you about when you're collage stamping is to make sure that your images extend off the page, okay? Don't try to do your collage stamping and have everything on the page, okay? It doesn't matter how big your cardstock is, you want to make sure your images extend off the side, okay? That's the only sort of kind of requirement to make it look good when you're doing collage stamping. All right, okay, so that is done. Next, oh, I got an extra bag here. I'm gonna bring in our background panel. So to start, look at how gorgeous, I'm hoping this shows up. How well does that show up? Yeah, look at how gorgeous this embossing folder is. This is the new Parisian Flourish embossing folder, and it is absolutely stunning. Like, hands down, love it. Like, just absolutely gorgeous. So this, I actually used thick Whisper White cardstock for this because the detail in this is so beautiful. I wanted to be able to get a slightly deeper image, and using the thick Whisper White I found gave me a better, more detailed image than the regular Whisper White. So that's just a little tip for using your 3D folders. So I've run it through and embossed using that new embossing folder. And, oh, I should mention, this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, okay? And here I have a piece of the beautiful new Parisian Blooms specialty DSP. Now, you can probably see the foil accents on that. It's catching the light. This is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 inches. Okay, it is reversible. Backside has beautiful floral pool party images. And we are going to glue that on just about in the middle. We did have a great holiday, Deneen. It was blessedly quiet. I love the peace and quiet that we kind of enforce during the holidays. We only have one big family event on the 26th, and the rest of the time was just rest, relaxation, and playing with new products. So it was a really good holiday. Thank you for asking. Okay, so there is my background strip. Now here I have another piece of the DSP, and this is kind of travel themed. It's got suitcases, it's got the passport stamp and the canceling. Oh, you figured it out. Awesome. That's great, Heather. I'm glad you're able to listen. And then on the back side, we have again that sort of passport stamp image in Pool Party. So I wanted this to kind of be travel themed. So I cut this to 3 inches by 3 3/4. And I'm going to glue this on so it is cockeyed on my panel. Okay, I'm doing that purposely crooked. So this is a great tip for those of you that have trouble getting things straight. Don't worry about straight. Just do it purposely crooked and it'll be fine. Really. All right, so we're going to go ahead and glue this on. And again, I want to make sure that my corners are extending off the edges, top and bottom. And then I'm going to flip it over and just trim along the panel there to get rid of those extra little corners. It was really wonderful, Deneen. It was lovely. It really was. I needed a break after the craziness of this fall. Okay, so there is my background. Now I'm ready to go ahead and adhere my stamped rectangle. This is going to get glued just flat. I'm not popping this up just yet. So we're going to glue that one down. And this one, I am going to endeavor to get straight. Now, you don't have to worry if it's not perfectly straight because your background piece is cockeyed. If you get this a little bit crooked, it's okay. It won't be really obvious because everything's kind of thrown off. All right, so there is our base. Now we can go ahead and glue this onto our card base. The same as the last card is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. This is Petal Pink cardstock, which is one of the coordinating colors in the DSP. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that panel, excuse me, onto the front of my card base. So we'll pop this onto here, just like that. Okay. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty just like that. We don't need to do anything more to it. I love this. I love this suite. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. I'll set this aside for a moment. This is 7/8 of an inch, I believe. Yes, 7/8 inches wide, and I don't know how long. It's just a piece of scrap that I cut off of, or had sitting around. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment. It says, follow your heart. It will take you to incredible places. And how many of you can testify to that? Anytime I have followed my heart, it has taken me to some pretty amazing places. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with Pool Party ink, and then attempt to stamp this in the center of my strip. There we go. And then we're going to use our tailored tag punch to do our banner ends. So we're going to slide it in the top until we see the sentiment, and then back it off and punch. Okay. And then I'm going to show you what I did to create my little accent, my little embellishment. So sometimes you need an embellishment, but there isn't anything that coordinates. So we can make our own. I am a big fan of DIY embellishments. So this little metallic seal was actually made just by stamping and heat embossing in silver on silver foil cardstock. Now I mentioned this has champagne accents. I actually ran out of champagne foil, so I used silver, and you know what? It totally works. Okay, so all I did was stamp and heat emboss in silver, and then punch this out with my 1-inch circle punch. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue that onto the end of my banner like that. Okay, so we'll add just a little bit of fast fuse there, and we're going to pop that right onto there about like that. I did it at a bit of an angle. Okay, and then I have a 1 1/8 scallop circle. This is punch. Can't remember. I don't think that punch is retire, but if it is, there is a circle in the layering circles dies that will work as well. Okay, so you can adhere that. I'm just going to take and put a little bit of Tombow on the back here, and we're going to kind of sandwich that banner in between, just like that. Okay. All right. Now we're ready to glue this onto the front of our card. No, we're not. We got to put our little flourish on first. I forgot. So this is, again, cut using the same die set. Thanks, Laura. I love that little trick. So this is the same die set that coordinates with this stamp set. It cuts this pretty flourish. Now you'll notice that the one on my sample is a little bit longer than this one. So all I did was snip it. So I'm going to snip right about here, and I'm going to make it a bit longer. All right. Now I have used a little bit of multi-purpose adhesive sheets on the back of this. You could totally use your fine tip glue pen to adhere this, but when I was making my swaps, I had to make 21 of them. And I just really wanted the ability to just peel and stick this down. So we're going to peel off our backing, and again, I'm just moving it over to make it a little bit longer so that when I adhere my banner, my flourish kind of extends. Okay, now the last touch is a little bit of ribbon, and I have to grab it. So this is beautiful new ribbon. I absolutely love this ribbon. This is 3/8 inches wide. It's petal pink with champagne foil edging. Okay, it's a little bit narrower. We have silver and white ribbon that is similar, but this is actually narrower. Is this 3/8 or is it 1 inch, a 1/4 inch? This is a 1/4 inch. I lied. The silver and white is 3/8. Okay, so all I did on this is I just wanted to have a little bit of an accent here. So I trimmed one end. Oh, come on. Oh, my scissors are dull. I bet you somebody used them for gift wrapping over the holidays. I found them out on a table with some wrapping paper. So I have a feeling that my darling husband used my scissors. How many of you guard your ribbon scissors, fabric scissors? I try to hide them, but sometimes. So all I did is, this is about 2 inches of ribbon, maybe 2.5. I folded it at a bit of an angle and put a glue dot to hold it. So now I have a little V, okay? And then I'm gonna take and add, actually I'll put my glue dot onto that fold in my ribbon. Oh, I'm glad you made it safely to your house, Heather. Good luck with unpacking, and I will catch you later. And then we're just going to adhere that to the back of our little seal there. Okay, and then that is ready to get adhered using some dimensionals. So we'll just pop a couple right along that banner and get rid of our backings. And then we're just going to adhere that, just taking care that we are hiding that little gap in our flourish there. And again, we're going to aim for straight. Hard to do when you're not looking at it straight. All right. Now those are a little long, so we can just trim that so that it doesn't extend too far off the edge of the card. There we go. Okay. Now the only other accent that I added was some of the new champagne rhinestones. I didn't get those out for this video, so you'll have to trust me. It's just, there are 3 different sizes, and again, they coordinate with the suite, and I will show them to you on Friday during my launch. Okay. So there is card number 2. Love, 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 love that suite. So we're going to get all of our mess out of the way and then move on to number 3. Now, I've shown you some items that are available for purchase. So I thought I should probably show you what you can earn for free when you purchase these items, right? So our third project is this one. Now, I don't know about you, but I love rich, bright, bold color. And this card is kind of right up my alley. Now, this one uses a whole ton of Sale-a-bration product. All right. The stamp set, the dies, the DSP, and the twine are all Sale-a-bration freebies. Like, I couldn't have gotten more on here if I tried. So let me show you what I did to put this together. Pull out all my bits and pieces here. All right. So normally, when we are stamping and die cutting, we normally stamp first and then die cut. However, I was actually prepping this. This is actually one of the make and take projects that we're going to be doing at my team training day this Saturday. And I don't want to bring my big shot. So I thought, well, we're going to try and stamp this after it's been die cut. And you know what? It's pretty easy to do. So I have die cut this from the gorgeous new lily pad DSP. So this again, let me, I can't show you the inside of the catalog. Never mind. I can't show you till Friday. The DSP in this suite, or in this, it coordinates with these products. It actually creates a little bit of a product suite. Is absolutely gorgeous. So I have die cut the outline of the lily, both the large and the small, out of that DSP. And then we are going to ink it up with some lovely lipstick ink. Now, this is going to be a challenge because I can't look directly over it. But because these are photopolymer stamps, I'm going to hope that this is straight. My camera's in my way, so I can't get right over top of this. Oh, that was pretty good. It's pretty easy to line those images up, even when you're looking at it off to the side. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller lily. So again, we're going to just center that on there and stamp. Okay, so there are 2 lily images. And don't forget that it is totally okay to stamp on DSP. A lot of people kind of hold DSP up as this, you know, holy thing that we are not allowed to sully with ink. But it is absolutely fine to stamp on your DSP. Now, I've also cut some lily pads out. So this again is the same DSP pack. And now I have to say, one of the colors that I really found worked with this DSP is Shaded Spruce. It is not listed on the pack of DSP as a coordinating color, but it totally works. So if you have Shaded Spruce, and I bet many of you do from using, for making your holiday cards, Shaded Spruce totally works. So I'm going to ink up my large lily pad image, and I'm going to do the same. Oh, that's not inked. Speaking of using Shaded Spruce, this one needs a little bit of ink. All right, better do that before Saturday. So same thing, I'm going to center that over the die cut lily. Okay, and then I'm going to use my small lily pad and ink that up and stamp that one as well. Okay, so these die cuts and images are pretty easy to stamp after you die cut. Okay, so if you are prepping, if you are a demonstrator and you're prepping for classes and you want things to go quickly, which is what I tend to do for my team events because we have a large group and a limited amount of time, I try to do as much of the prep ahead of time as I can. So die cutting those shapes and then having everybody stamp them is a quick and easy way to speed up your make and take time. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of fast fuse just to the back of my large lily and adhere that to my large lily pad. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my small one and adhere it to the small lily pad. Okay. So then I have the dies in this set not only cut out stamped images, but they also cut some beautiful detailed images. So this is a really versatile one because it will layer perfectly over top of the stamped lily. So if you wanted to add an accent like that, you absolutely could. But I actually use them on this card as a little bit of an accent behind the stamped lily. So I'm going to add a bit of fast fuse there and just kind of tuck that in so it's peeking out from behind. Okay, and then same thing with the small one. Now this small one does not line up as well. It does line up, just not as well. Okay, so it doesn't quite do the same thing as the large one does. So I'm going to add this sort of peeking out from behind here like that. Okay, now that's most of the work for this card. The rest of it is really quick and easy to put together. So this is a larger piece. Oh, Sandy, I'm sorry you missed the first card. You have to go back and watch the replay. It was a quick and easy masculine card. Okay, so this is more of that same Lily DSP, double-sided. So one side has these sort of abstract, if you like Monet and Renoir, if you're into French Impressionistic art, you are going to love this paper. That's why I love it so much, because I love, especially Monet. He's like my favorite artist. So this paper just really speaks to me. So the one side of every sheet has these sort of abstract lily pads, and then on the back there is a wash in different colors. This particular one is purple. I use the pink for the lovely lipstick. This is Gorgeous Grape. I use the lovely lipstick for the lily pads. There's also Grapefruit Grove. So awesome versatile DSP in this pack. All right, so this is cut to 5 1/4 by, I think, 2 3/4. Yes, 2 3/4. 5 1/4 by 2 3/4. And then I have a piece of lovely lipstick cardstock that is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 7/8. Okay, so I just cut 1/8 of an inch larger, so I have a really narrow border all the way around. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and glue that down. A bit of fast fuse, and away we go. So when I have a narrow border, I really kind of work my way across and try very, very hard. I take my time to make sure I get it on straight. Okay, just like that. That's right side up. And then here I have a Bermuda Bay panel that is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and it's embossed using the subtle embossing folder. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that onto there. And again, I'm aiming for centered on this one. So we're going to do it right about there. Okay. Now you'll see where I've got a little bit of a mismeasure here. So I didn't do that on purpose, but I'm excited because it gives me the opportunity to use this. This is the cutest little trimmer you will ever see. All right. This is a new exclusive product to the starter kit during Sale-a-bration. All right. So starting on Friday, if you choose to join my Stamping Symphony team, you will get this free in your starter kit. And it is absolutely adorable. Awesome for taking along to crops or classes, really quick and easy to throw into your bag, and fantastic for doing these little detailed cuts. How many times have you glued layers down and found, oh, they just aren't quite all exactly the same dimension? Okay, and it just takes off those really narrow, look at how narrow that little sliver is. You could never do that with a regular trimmer. Okay, so this is the best thing. It lives on my desk. I use it all the time, which also tells you how often I make mistakes when I'm measuring. But it is an awesome little trimmer. And you are going to want that. If you are not already a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you need to seriously consider joining starting on Friday, because you'll get this for free in your kit. I'll talk more about that during my launch event on Friday. Okay, so we have our background done. We are going to go ahead and glue that onto our card base. This is a larger piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. It is 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. So I'm going to fold that in half along my score line. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that front panel onto our card base. So we'll pop this right on here like that. There we go. All right. Now we're ready to adhere our lily pads, water lilies rather. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a few dimensionals to the back. get rid of the backings and pop this right onto the front. Okay, so I want to just make sure my water lilies are straight. Water lilies tend to be flat. They sit on the water. So we want to make sure that our lily pad is straight. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my smaller one. I'll add a mini dimensional on here and get rid of our backings and pop that right on here. Right about there, looks good. Okay, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. So in my kit, I have this is a half-inch strip of Whisper White. It is an offcut from cutting larger panels. And I am using a sentiment from the Artistically Aware stamp set. This is Janet Wakeland's $1 Million stamp set. And I really love the sentiments in it. I love the images too, but this is one that I thought was really, really... I mean, you could do this for anything, right? Somebody who's just having a hard time, someone who has suffered a loss, someone who is unwell. Oh, that's really crooked. Let's try that again. Did I mention it's hard to stamp straight when you're not looking straight on? Let's try that again. Nope. Try it again. Third time's a charm, right? Actually, yeah, let's try that. Let's do it a bit lower. There we go. That's better. Really hard to do. Yes, the mini cutter is available to demonstrators. If you are currently a demonstrator, you can pre-order this until January 2nd. So that was how I was able to get my hands on it, because I am obviously already a demonstrator. But if you are a current Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you haven't pre-ordered this, you can get it up until January 2nd. Okay, after that, the only way it will be available is in the starter kit. This is not an item that is going to be available for purchase. Okay. All right. So there is my little sentiment banner. Now we're going to add a little bit of twine. So this is yet another Sale-a-bration item. There is an option to get 2 rolls of twine. There's the Bermuda Bay and Daffodil Delight, as well as some sequins. That is one of the Sale-a-bration freebie options, free with a $60 order. Okay, so I'm going to add just a glue dot to the back of my little banner and press one end of my twine into it. And then we'll wrap it around and then press it again and snip it off. Okay, so there is my twine. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie a bow, because you can't get through one of my videos without a bow tying lesson. So this is my twine bow. So I'm going to start by making a loop. Okay, just a loop. I want to just hold it in my right hand. I am right-handed. I'm going to leave a tail hanging off to the left. I'm going to take that tail, wrap it around the loop, and bring it through. Okay, so this is the way I like to do my bows with twine, so I don't get a really big bulky knot. You've seen me do my bunny ear bows before with ribbon. I don't tend to do that with twine because I want my knot to be smaller and less bulky. Okay, so there is my little twine bow. We'll just trim that off the roll. And then to adhere this, I'm going to take a glue dot and roll it into kind of like a little tube. I'm just going to stick it down with my thumbnail onto my little banner here. And then we're going to pop this on and press it right down into that tube of glue. Okay, and that way your bow is going to stay put. You can kind of manipulate where your loops go. And there you go. Quick and easy, right? All right, so now we're going to add a couple of dimensionals on the back. And we're going to pop this onto the front of our card. Oops, let's get that guy out of the way. There we go. Right about there. How's that? All right. Next, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Katie, but you and Sandy are having a conversation. That's fine. I missed the start of it, so I can't comment. I'll go back and comment afterwards. All right, the last touch is some rhinestones. Now, these are I used some pink rhinestones from the Noble Peacock rhinestone pack. These are still available. We can't forget the awesome products in the annual catalog, right? I know it's exciting to get the new mini, but a lot of these products coordinate with products that are in the annual. And these rhinestones are awesome because you get so many different color options. So we're going to take some pink rhinestones, or take your pick, and we're just going to pop a couple of them onto the front of the card. And even though they don't necessarily coordinate exactly with the colors used in this card. They totally work. We're going to put one up there because of the variation in color. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Deneen. Have a good afternoon at work and Happy New Year. Okay. All right. So my last touch on this card is to take my Wink of Stella and I just very, very lightly trace the veins on the petals on my lily pad, or my water lilies rather. And that just adds the subtlest touch of shimmer and sparkle and just takes this card up a whole new level. Now, I'm not sure how well this will show up on the camera. I will try and catch the light and see if I can show you what it looks like. Now, you don't want to spend a lot of time brushing this on because it will smear your stamped image, okay? So just a quick light touch with the Wink of Stella right over top of those. Can you see that? Does that show? I'm not sure if it does, but it has just the cutest, beautiful shimmer. All right. All right. So that is that. We've done our 3 cards. I'll quickly show you what I did on the inside of this one. This is another sentiment from the stamp set that I just dropped under my desk. Come here, you. There we go. So if loving thoughts could heal, you'd be better already. Okay, so I used, this again is that Sale-a-bration Sending You Thoughts stamp set. And I've stamped another water lily on the inside. Really pretty. Let me bring in the other projects. So we have 1, 2, and 3. There we go. There is a little sneaky peeky of things to come this Friday. Again, I hope you'll join me this coming Friday at 7 p.m. So this is Friday, January 3rd. That is the day that the Catalogue and Sale-a-bration launch. I'm going to be holding my online launch party at 7 o'clock. So I hope you'll join me live. In the meantime, have a very happy New Year's Eve this evening. Be safe. And I wish you all the very best in the new decade, the 2020s. We'll see you next Tuesday for more Tuesday Live at 5. Bye for now.